Welcome to the International HR Institute, where global HR professionals thrive. We're advocates for setting the highest standards in human resources, management, and development. At the International HR Institute, we offer certification training courses that are designed to supercharge your career, such as CLDP, CRSP, and CCVP. Our certifications, globally recognized and endorsed by accrediting bodies, guarantee excellence in every program. Meet our global training partners, experts in each certification field, steering you towards success. Ready to excel in your HR career? Send us a message at info@ihri.ph. International HR Institute. Future thinking now. Attention recruiters! It's time to amplify your impact. Become a certified recruitment and selection professional. Learn strategic workforce planning. Unlock the secrets to building a stellar talent pipeline. Lead with confidence in recruitment strategy. Ready to become a recruitment champion and take your own career to the next level? Discover how CRSP certification can revolutionize your HR game. Join our 2-day comprehensive learning sessions and attain lifetime certification. Become a CRSP. Attention HR Total Rewards and Payroll professionals. Take your knowledge and skill set to the next level. Become a certified compensation and benefits professional. Learn more about job evaluation and pay grading. Practice and discuss pay surveys, benchmarking, and salary structures. Know the latest updates in local and data privacy laws in compensation and benefits. Acquire real-life effective HR practices on labor unions and collective bargaining. Join our 2-day learning sessions for a complete learning experience and get certified for life. Become a CCVP.
Maximize your potential in HR. Become a certified practitioner in human resources. Achieve global recognition as an HR professional and people leader with CPHR. Join our interactive learning sessions to elevate your proficiency and become a distinguished HR leader. Equip yourself with advanced HR knowledge. Enhance your strategic thinking abilities. develop crucial practical skills for people management. But don't just take our word for it. Hear from our successful graduates.
Been with HR for 18 years. I've been handling OD training and ngayon may recruitment. So there are still a lot of terminologies kasi holistic na nga yung approach, the whole HR facets. So maraming learning and plus the business case really helped reinforce the learning to us. So thank you very much.
So I would like to thank you, of course, for giving us a very good training. It's very informative, very helpful to all of us. As what just Lois mentioned, been working in HR for 14 years now, and there are a lot of information that added value really into, for me, not just professionally but of course personally. It's helped us aim to do more than what we are doing right now.
Ready to transform your HR career? Take the first step towards becoming a CPHR. Register now.
Are you ready to kickstart your career in human resources? Introducing Associate Certified Practitioner in Human Resources. ACPHR is a career certification for emerging HR professionals and people leaders. Become an ACPHR and secure your HR career path. Be corporate ready and stand out. Be part of the CPHR International Network. Join thousands of certified practitioners at International HR Institute and expand your career opportunities from the get-go. Start your HR career with ACPHR. Get your lifetime certification now.
Hi, and welcome to the Trainers Lounge, the show where we talk about everything and anything about L&D. And right now, we're back with more episodes and more guests to share some strategies, insights, or latest trends in this wonderful world of L&D. But before that, make sure you follow and subscribe to our channel. That's Institute of Learning and Development in Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can also watch our Trainers Lounge videos at YouTube from the Circle Group page. And without further ado, I would like to introduce first our topic for this episode. Now, since our last episode, a lot of trends have been coming up, especially this two letters, AI. So not just in L&D, AI has been affecting a lot of industries, whether it's for the good or sometimes for the bad side of things. But today, we are actually going to talk about the convergence of AI, L&D, and project management. And to help us understand better these three things in our industry, I would like to introduce first our guest for today. So, Our guest is a regional learning and developmental leader within one of the world's largest global technology driven enterprise. He is a Bachelor of Science in Psychology graduate of the University of Santo Tomas, and he brings nearly 2 decades of experience in training delivery, talent development, and operational leadership across multiple organizations and regions. Now, over the years, he has witnessed and led the shift of training managers from traditional facilitators to full scale project owners. And he is a certified learning and development professional and a Lean Six Sigma practitioner with formal training in project management essentials. He currently work integrate his current work rather integrates AI tools, analytics, and process automation into learning strategy and program execution. He offers a grounded perspective on why AI fluency and project management discipline are now essential capabilities for modern training leaders. And to help us understand the convergence of AI, L&D, and project management, please welcome Mr. Sergeant Joseph Jayson.
All right, Kevin. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. I'm honestly flattered with with everything you have mentioned with us. So yes, I'm very happy and excited to be part of the show. And of course, I just want to of course share my experience as well as we grow along with the current trends that the world is now taking over in terms of AI. So I think most of us here, I would say, is that it's either you love it or it's either you fear it,
Mm-hmm.
depending on whichever uh, how should I say this party you wish to choose, right? Are you the AI loving crowd or are you the fearing AI AI crowd? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a few years ago when it was introduced, a lot of us didn't even actually know how to utilize it yet per se, especially in L&D. Like, how am I going to utilize this in terms of my facilitation, in terms of creating my lesson, my training lessons, or even my lesson plan, if you will. And then for project management, I think also it's going to be a different kind of beast because it's really foreign if you think about it. It's a very foreign concept at the time when it was released. But later on, I think some strategies have been developed how to integrate it, but then others also would sway over to the negative fence, saying it will make people well, for the lack of a better term, lazy, or it
Mm-mm.
will automate a lot of things that we've been doing that needs human, at least a human touch. But yeah, I guess the questions that we have now can at least give us a further look into how we can converge AI, L&D, and project management.
Absolutely, Kev. And that's the reason why, I'm very much happy to share this knowledge with you and to our listeners today and to our live view streamers here in YouTube. So hello everyone. So CJ here and happy to share with you all my insights in my nearly 2 decades of experience. So probably perhaps I may go ahead and start the what do you call this or set the tone. So one
For
thing
sure.
that's kind of critical for managers is, of course, number one, it does not replace training managers 100%. Okay, so I think
Okay.
we need to put it out there. Okay,
We're
so
safe. We're safe.
agree, agree. So people are safe with AI, especially in the training delivery space, or if you are in the L&D function, because of course, AI does not operate independently without human intervention, and that's what's always critical. It always think of AI as your best buddy in terms
Mhm.
of helping you identify what errors have you already were there, right? So, for example, if you have decided something, AI will help you flag them down before you share your vision, your planning to the audience, which is very critical in the role as managers because as managers you are decision makers and you identify whether or not something is going right or something is going wrong. So it used to be in the past when I started in the training industry a couple of decades back, trainers and managers just simply delivered. We just only provided the sessions. We just, of course, gathered surveys whether the feedback was successful for the training delivery, and then of course we work with our leaders and
Mhm.
say them what is the ROI for this project, and so that's the cycle, right? However, managers right now we run programs, and the unfortunate fact which I have been seeing mostly is that managers aren't very much familiar with project management because each training program, if you will, is always a part of a larger picture. It is always a part of a uh, project management that your leaders may have already planned or plotted out for you in advance for you to execute. Hence the reason why with AI integrating in project management and you being as a training manager or leading teams or just simply facilitating programs, it will definitely help you orchestrate intelligent systems across your organization or if you're managing a regions or globally, right? And that's the beauty about AI. So it really helps you out. So
All
there.
right. I guess for now, let's focus on. I want to say to our audience now, let's focus on the things that we can utilize. Now, don't take it as a threat, rather take it as something that you can utilize to help further improve your processes, if you will. But I guess not to deep diver. To dive deeper, pinagbaliktad ko pa, to dive deeper into this topic, let's start first with how is AI breaking down silos between L&D and project teams across global regions?
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks, Kevin, for that wonderful question. So, I'd like to share a couple of points when I was doing my research. McKinsey estimates that generative AI, and remember, AI has a lot of levels, right? With the third level right now being generative AI, meaning it will almost do the workflow for you from end to end.
Mhm.
Okay. So, generative AI can actually automate 60 to 70% of your current work activities in knowledge heavy roles, and training is included in that. Now, one critical thing of training manager's role there is that if your training playbook changes per country, AI can force consistency without killing localization, and that's something critical, right? Especially for non-native language English speakers.
Mhm.
Um, One thing that I have a good sharing of is that when I was managing the Japanese training team, so it's okay. Japanese are always typically polite upfront, but of course, at the end of the day, when you're done with the meetings and everything, they will always question, "What is this? What is that?" Right? And
Mhm.
the number one problem with Japanese speakers is that they don't uh, when you're translating English to Japanese, you have to be very careful with that because it has to be contextualized. Hence the reason why it has
Yes.
to be the request for knowledge now has to be contextualized and at the same time has to be standardized. Hence, some examples if your organization has not been into wiki pages, knowledge bases, it's a very good place to start having your AI automate those items because if you don't have knowledge bases in your organizations, it's time for you guys to rethink that. Hey, probably it's time for us to store something more permanent, right? So AI can definitely do that heavy role for you. We just have to itemize which specific knowledge bases will require content in the AI tool for your wiki, CS assistance, or anything else that you or your organization uses for LMS. Again, another one that I would like to share would be real-time translation. However, always take it with a grain of salt. Not translations get to be translated properly. In the case of Japanese, which I mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
you also use as well, probably, I think, Kevin, you're familiar with this one, Zoom. For Zoom activities, there are some AI summarizers, right? So again, you guys have to be careful with that because sometimes the summarizers may overthink too much to the point that, hey, is this something that I said earlier in the meeting? So you have to be careful with those. Um, of course, once the meeting is done, once one of the critical factors is you have to take note of the shared dashboards. Dashboards are always critical whenever it comes to training successes and how do you validate if a project is successful, right? So you have
Mhm.
to use dashboards, and AI can definitely help you identify where do I need to look at, right? Where do I need to improve? And because of that, the dashboards can tell you faster decision making processes and eventually reduces your SME input. And by making sure that with these items, you're utilizing AI to the fullest when you are managing training delivery programs. So AI, again, as mentioned, it creates one operating language across regions and make sure that it eases the job for you.
Okay, there you go. Well, actually, I just wanted to roll back to the translation part. I guess coming from a language background as well, one of the difficulties is how do we make sure that it's a good, not even proper, but it's a good translation or summarization of what has been talked about. Even especially if it's a very long meeting, how can you check? I think that's where some of the things that we have to be careful with, just to check na wag natin siya tanggapin agad-agad na, oh, okay,
Agree.
here's the product of our AI summary bot, I don't know, on note
Mhm.
taker. Even Teams, I believe, has that already. If
Yep.
you're going to conduct meetings through Teams, meron na rin siyang proprietary AI note taker
Mhm.
niya. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to reiterate yung importance ng checking if
Yes.
the product is really
100% agree.
appropriate. If not good, if not perfect, if it's appropriate to what has been said talaga. All
Agree.
right. I guess now one of the things then is we would like to understand better how AI helps us. So can you share some of examples of how AI has improved learning programs or project outcomes in your experience?
Sure. Um, the number of problem that in most organizations will always ask a training manager would be is how do you make sure that you have led to successful outcomes? And
Uh-huh.
typically, when you talk about training delivery, it's always about throughput, graduation rates, or people who are able to improve after you have
Mhm.
done your respective interventions, right? So I think now with AI coming into the picture, one of the critical things you need to always identify as a manager, and as I've been saying this to my respective direct reports, my managers as well, is that you don't 100% rely on AI to do a lot of work because
Mhm.
otherwise, I shouldn't have hired you in the first place. You have AI already, right? So
Mhm.
your role as a manager is to make sure that you really scrutinize what you want your AI to do. So we start off first with, of course, the problem statement, because of course, like what people have said, identifying the problem solves 50% already of the issue itself, right? So when you're using AI, you have to first identify what is the problem you are trying to solve utilizing that AI tool, whichever is the case. You have ChatGPT, Claude, or etc. Right? And there's a ton of there out there in the internet. So once you're able to identify the problem, the next step that you need to identify is what intervention do you plan to use? Would it be a blended learning? Would it be instructional led training, or a mix of both? Which typically are current training programs wherever you reside in the world always manages to sit between the two. It's either instructor blended or self-directed, right? But depending on the user and how long do they have the capacity to learn within a given amount of time. And after that, of course, this is where you integrate AI into your tool. You measure your results, right? So
Mhm.
one thing that's kind of critical for us is you don't just throw again everything to AI for AI to decide for you. You have to use AI to your advantage. And again, as I've been mentioning earlier, AI is not fully automated. It requires human intervention. So with those items being said, and that's reason why I've just mentioned only top three critical items. With use of AI, it will apply to whatever program that you are trying to implement. Of course, without validation, it will never be successful. So that's why you have to always validate whatever you are trying to input to your respective AI.
There you have it. Yeah, yeah. A lot of I think I've heard this as well from other people that I think the misunderstanding about the concept of AI replacing our jobs is they think
Mhm.
that everything will be placed or everything will be relied to AI. And
That's
yeah,
true.
I love that you said that we have to have a human touch, if you will, no,
Hmm.
overseeing what's going on with the process of AI. So I
That's true.
guess as long as we include talaga yung human touch na nandiyan pa rin yung tao, yung decision factor is still within us. I
Hmm.
think no, hindi magkakatotoo yung replacement ng ating mga tasks, ng mga ating mga what do you call this, mga jobs per se
Hmm.
with AI.
I
Now,
agree.
going into naman sa mga leaders, I guess mga leaders din kasi definitely they're the ones who are also if not if not concerned but rather
Hmm.
interested how is it gonna affect their teams. No? So sa
Hmm.
mga leaders naman, what guardrails must they put in place before deploying AI in learning and project workflows?
Wow, yeah, that's an interesting question. With the guardrails, I think one of the I'll probably raise a couple of 3 points rather.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first is that remember that AI, whatever tool that you implement or use, will always require human intervention. So again, you don't think of it as if you're not dumping everything into AI for AI to sort it out and filter for you. AI will just help you out because at the end of the day, um, it will produce results depending on whatever you have inserted into the tool, right? Whether it's a chat agent or a voice agent or what have not. Um, Always remember, us humans, okay, owns the decision making process. Hence the reason why AI cannot fully replace us, even in the training industry.
Mhm.
AI will make things faster for you. It will support the analysis based on the data points that you have mentioned. So one example that I was able to do with AI is, of course, I dumped a table there, but I have to provide the input or the prompt, if you will, right? So the prompt, which I've been mentioning right now, is an instruction that training managers should need to really be very careful with. The broad you are in prompting, the more difficult that the response will be, and you have to have asking the AI a lot of questions. So doon ka palang mahihirapan na, tatagal ka na. Instead of you making the AI work for you and making things faster, right? And whatever the results will be after the analysis, leaders, you and me alike, will always own the accountability. AI will never own it. Okay? Remember, AI is just a tool, and it's good as the person who is using it. So if you're
Mhm.
not as very skilled in prompting meaning you're asking it specifically what do you want it to execute, what are the things that you want it to guide through, and what is the output that you want it to be. Okay? So always remember, for leaders out there, AI will always support your decision, but at the end of the day, humans like you and me will always own the accountability. You cannot say in a boardroom meeting that, oops, it's AI who decided it. But leaders will always question you. Eh, sino yung naglagay sa AI? Di ba ikaw?
Mhm.
So, there.
There you go. Actually, nakakatawa nga yun. No? Sometimes they think na, ay, si AI kasi yun eh. Hindi ko
Mm-mm.
naman ginalaw yan. But again, we have to take ownership nga kasi we are the ones processing that. We are the ones who owns that, whether it's data, project, timelines, whatever that is, we are the ones who owns it, right? And once we present it, regardless of what methods we use, it's our responsibility to make sure that it's correct and that it's
Correct.
proper, right? Or that it's relevant as well. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
I think those are good points for leaders to look out for whenever they utilize AI in their processes, whether
Mm-mm.
that's for learning programs or for project, what they call this management. And
Yep,
then
absolutely.
going into more about the performance, right? Not just productivity.
Mm-mm.
How do you measure whether AI
Mm-mm.
is improving performance, no, not
Mm-mm.
productivity alone?
Mm. Yep, that's a good question. So I think managers or leaders are there are kind of familiar with the A/B testing, right? So
Uh-huh.
especially for managers or for organizations who are trying to use AI to validate or to justify that, hey, we need to invest on AI. I would strongly suggest that leaders putting on their project management hat should do a pilot A/B testing. So perhaps you can do a pilot A, wherein in your pilot A you're just using traditional methods of how do you cover the entire training program from start to finish, like planning, execution, conducting of or measuring of performance, versus you using AI to help you make things faster. A couple of points that you need to remember as a training manager or an L&D professional is, number one, you have to identify what is your time to proficiency in your between pilot A and pilot B, right?
Mhm.
So it could be, for example, without AI, it will take you about 6 weeks before your learners are able to attain the specific outcome that you are trying to measure. Next is, of course, you have to also identify, again, which I mentioned earlier, yung duration ng project mo. So with pilot A, how long did it took from conception up to until execution, right? Versus pilot B, where you may have probably implemented AI, how shorter is the time or savings involved, right? You have to also consider as well the reduction in errors between pilot A and pilot B. Sino yung mas naging more efficient, for example? Sino yung nagkaroon ng lesser safety incidents, as a given example, right? Probably I would also think as well of stakeholder satisfaction scores, like your 𝐾𝐞𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐟𝐢𝐞𝐫 level 1 surveys. Like, are your learners satisfied? Natuwa ba sila with uh, versus A and B testing? diba? So you could use that as a leverage when you are speaking to your stakeholders that AI is more efficient by providing them these lists of ROIs. And by providing them the ROI, you're giving them the justification that, hey, AI is more beneficial, right? However, you can also share with your stakeholders that in order for me to proceed with utilizing AI, these are my learnings that I have learned using AI. Like number one, I need to invest further in prompting. Number two, I need to know specifically ano yung guardrails na kailangan natin, and those kind of things, right? Because again, each organization may have their respective guardrails when we talk about AI utilization, which probably we could talk more about later on in the show.
Okay. Now, I wanted to add siguro din sa performance checking is instead of just the productivity, projects are done quickly, learning programs are created quickly, but then again, I think as an organization, as a leader, siguro, you also have to have check-ins, if you will.
Agree.
No? Baka kasi naging too reliant na yung mga members natin. Maybe they've been using AI too much that they forgot themselves how to do it.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
For example, the simple task of summarizing a set of data.
Mm-mm.
They've gotten so used to using AI to summarize it, but when you ask them to summarize it themselves, they forgot or they don't know how to do it anymore. So I think it's also important for us to do performance check-ins, right?
Yep.
Like your competency check-ins every now and then. It doesn't have to be a very heavy test. You just have to make sure that your team members are still capable of doing the job without the use of AI. So I think that's one way to go about it as well.
That's correct,
Okay.
Kev. And if I may also probably add as well, looking back, that's also critical in project management, which we are also talking in our show today. So again, if you're using AI, again, you have to be very careful. You have to work with your stakeholders and set milestones and check-ins to make sure that your project is on track versus your if you're using pilot A and B testing, right? So both of you'll both of these projects will utilize time stones or milestones to make sure na are we on the right track or are we being delayed, right? And then this is something that can be captured when you present this to your stakeholders that it's either will AI be beneficial to you or will you need more time to invest in another thing, right? So
there you go. Yeah. I think that's also something that we have to look out for talaga when for project management. But yeah, thank you so much for those. And now moving naman tayo sa other aspect ng how AI can help us is to make sure na hindi sila mapapalitan per se. How can AI help employees learn the skills they need for upcoming projects? So instead of replacement, how can they use AI para naman matutunan nila yung skills na yun?
Oh yes, absolutely. So it's a very good question following up from our project management question earlier, right? So of course, as I mentioned earlier in the start of a meeting, so managers right now are now tasked or are now being groomed to become project managers alone. They're not just only training delivery managers or learning program managers, right? So you get to be how should I say this? You get to be super skilled, and one of the critical things that you need to develop those aspects is, of course, you have to identify what skill gap do you need to, or what's the skill gap that each of your respective roles are missing in this to be successful, right? So to do that, you have to create what we call triple DM or data-driven decision-making processes. And by using that, you have to have strong data points that you can justify whether competencies are lacking or that requires further more training. And AI can definitely help you map out those skills, right? Now, once you are able to probably identify those skill gaps, then you can create recommended personalized learning pathways, if you will. And of course, this will come from the skill mapping that you have already mentioned earlier. So as an L&D professional, you can definitely create skill building modules that they can take during their own free time, or use the ILT facilitator to help you support those modules once each of these learners were able to take them. So it's sort of like a debriefing process where your ILT comes in, right? You also then create to make sure that they are certified in the role is to do conduct role playing post those ILT or blended sessions. And then from there, from the role playing, you could either do simulations and then eventually predictive capability planning, where of course at the end of the day, before uh, you have them tasked to do a specific role that requires an X amount of skills, then you could probably do or have them do into a sandbox period or a nesting period that they can execute, or uh, have them perform these skills in a safe space before you have them go out into the world and then have them conduct projects for you. And that's how you can make sure that AI will definitely help you learn skills faster and shorter amount of time versus the traditional method where it will take you to identify a job description,
Mhm.
map the skill, and then eventually secure funding and what have you. AI can definitely help you shorten that skill, and of course, connecting it to project management, it will make things faster for everyone. Again, the disclaimer: as long as you know what to prompt properly into the AI, because again, poor prompting can result to poor planning and execution.
There you go. I've always thought about AI as the next level search engine, right? Because with the boom of the internet back then, you get to have information at your fingertips, but it's still your job to summarize it, to find out which is relevant. But then AI came in, and it felt to me na parang next level lang siya ng wow lang ah. Pero hindi, next level siya ng search engine, if you will. No,
Yes.
instead of just giving me information, they can compile it, they can place
Analyze
it in a
it.
way, analyze it, place it in a way that I can understand it based on the
Yes.
task at hand. So I guess
Mm.
at our current position,
Mm.
hindi rin natin talaga maaalis yung checking for competency, as you mentioned, na kailangan making
Definitely.
sure that they utilize, they apply, they showcase whatever skill sets is needed, and then AI is really there just a support, not as a replacement altogether of what we do.
Mm-mm.
And then, well, with this, no, we are now looking into some of the parts as well, from leadership capabilities, from
Mhm.
training managers. Basically, what are these capabilities from training managers na required natin when AI becomes part of your L&D and project. So siguro yung mga bago-bago pang nag-integrate ng AI sa
Mhm.
kanilang processes. So ano
Mhm.
ba yung mga capabilities na kailangan meron sila bago nila i-push forward itong
Mm.
project na to?
That's a very good question. I think looking at the traditional business perspective, these are people, or I would say businesses that are have high reservations when it comes to utilizing AI, right? And of course, we know for a fact that if you want your businesses to move forward or scale upward, we need to upskill our leaders to become, how should I say this, embrace AI. But again, as what we have mentioned earlier in our series, AI will never replace you, right? It will always help you to be, how should I say this, to be more efficient and to be more critical of the projects or decisions that you will be executing. So, first things first that I would kind of think of would be working backwards capability. So,
Mhm.
if you want, I know all leaders there have a goal. Each and every one of us, even you, even me, we all have respective goals. But the question there is, how do I get from plan A to plan B, right? And that's where most leaders would stumble in the beginning. So, what people would say is that, oh, this person has experience, magagawa niya yung whatever that may be. But I strongly suggest that if that would be the case, you will not be able to build leaders that way. I would suggest that capabilities for leaders going forward would need to have a working backwards mechanism. Meaning, if this is my goal, how would I make sure na magiging successful ako, or how do I make sure na mapupunta yung outcome ko to that goal, right? So, you think of your customers, you think of your stakeholders. Ano ba yung gusto mong maging output for them? And by working your way backwards, you can definitely create some milestones or specific check-ins, which we have been discussing in project management and leadership for L&D and training delivery teams, na ano yung kailangan nilang ma-identify to make sure that they are leading towards that goal, right? So, when you're leading towards that goal, you have to also identify systems thinking. Ano yung mga systems na kailangan kong i-involve? Ano yung mga, who are my stakeholders that I need to talk to make sure that capabilities like this would be very successful? You also need to be very data literate. You need to make sure that you know how to read dashboards, analyze dashboards, and
Mhm.
what you call this, how does this interpret towards the bigger picture of your business, right? Of course, again, as we are talking about AI right now, you have to be very critical in terms of ethical judgment. Ano ba yung data points na nilalagay mo sa AI? Baka mamaya, yung mga data points mo doon is not something sanctioned by your respective organizations, right? So you have to be very careful there, okay? Of course, given those things that you have already planned in mind, one thing that is now critical would be change management. I think this is something very at heart to us because, of course, people will not be very receptive to change. You have to be very careful with them, right? So there's a lot of training is involved when it comes to change management. You have to identify how to make them win over the decision that you are now introducing AI to the bigger picture, right? And again, Kevin, you have mentioned earlier today na people have much reservations when it comes to AI. Baka palitan ako ni sir dahil kasi may AI na, di ba? So yung mga ganung bagay. So again, you have to frame it properly because of course, if you're just saying, hey guys, magalagay tayo ng AI. So syempre, biglang magmamarita si Mr. A, Mr. B, Miss C do sa workplace na, nako, si boss, papalitan tayo kasi may AI na. No. You have to always project it or package it in a way that it will never replace your employees because again, AI will always require human intervention. Okay? It will never run by itself unless Skynet comes in like Terminator and people
Iba na yan, iba na yan.
Yep. Diba? So yeah. Again, one example there would be prompt literacy, which I mentioned in. Prompt literacy again is of course instructing AI what is exactly you want from it and then how do you want it to output you so that it will be easier for you to digest that information. With those informations that are being provided with AI, one thing that you need to clarify or validate right now would be what is the output? Yung output ba nito, pwede na bang ipakita sa stakeholders natin? Pwede na ba natin ipakita sa customers natin, right? Because if you just simply throw what AI throws at you, then again, we have mentioned earlier, AI cannot be accountable to that decision. It will always be you because you're the one talking to that stakeholder meeting, to the boardroom, right? So if you cannot question the AI output, it will always be a risk for you. And that's why as a project manager / training manager or leaders, you have to always question the output. You have to always check, baka totohanan ba sinasabi ni AI? Baka mamaya nag-hallucinate. Like what people say, it's AI hallucination. And you have to be very careful about it as leaders. And that's where your experience as a leader will need to come in very handy because if you just throw the decision there without, thinking, mahirap yan. One example that I would like to share is that when AI was in infancy stages, natuwa ako, gumagawa pala to ng email replies. Tapos binalikan ako ng boss ko. Ano sinasabi mo rito? Oops. Diba?
It makes it's a different identity. They'll know right away. Or for those na medyo in tune with your with human nature, malalaman nila if it's made from AI or not. But
yes, absolutely.
I think as something that I would like to also add is it's not basically a new ability or capability, but rather something that they have to remember. If you're going to introduce AI for our leaders, make sure that you're also really skilled at what the technology is at the moment.
Correct.
I don't mean to offend anyone, but let's be real for a moment. Some leaders are not really fully capable of handling the technology that they have in their team or in their industry. So I guess if you are looking into adding AI into your processes, make sure that you're also familiar with the current technology.
Exactly.
Because how can you utilize AI properly if you can't even manage or utilize your current technology that you have? Whether it's a machine, it's a computer software or whatnot. So I guess I just wanted to emphasize on the competency level of our leaders when it comes to the current technology. Because AI is a different beast, ika nga.
Yep.
It's a different ball game. Tapos, if hindi ka pa familiar sa current state ninyo,
how
can you introduce it, di ba? How can you add it pa? So yeah, I guess, just a reminder, not really a new capability, but rather just a reminder that make sure you are well-versed in the current technology that you are using.
That's true, Kev. And I think for some of our listeners out there, they may have probably have invested already or subscribed to plans with AI.
Yes.
And yun nga, unfortunately, one thing that I have probably observed in my experience alone, just for disclaimer, is that okay? You're paying for it. However, are you 100% utilizing what you're
Utilizing
paying
it,
for?
yes.
So before so in order for you to utilize or get every centavo or even cents or dollars wherever you are, if you're in the US or in any other currency markets, you have to make sure that you are capable enough or you have the right skill to maximize the tool itself. And again,
Mhm.
probably IHRI may also invest this in the future in terms of agentic prompting. So prompting again, which I have been mentioning in our questions earlier, will always trigger the right responses because again, um, it's just a what do you call this operator. AI is an operator. It will whatever you're throwing at it, it will just respond. It will just provide you exactly what you have asked for it. Diba? So like what they have mentioned before, GIGO, not the other word. Okay, so garbage in, garbage out. So again, you have to be very careful with you prompting or asking the tool itself. And of course, that's where how to say this, yung mga binabayad natin for the AI tool, it will always may mga tokens yan. And that's why you have to be very, very critical of what you ask for it. Because if you are asking it the wrong questions, it will not give you the exact output you're looking for. Sayang naman binayad mo, diba? And that's a skill in
Okay.
itself that you need to invest very well as leaders.
Well, speaking of things that we have to look out for, I think I would also like to emphasize deeper kung ano yung mga operational risk, what are the real operational risk when
Mhm.
blending AI, L&D, and project management. So,
Mhm.
syempre, hindi naman laging good things ang mangyayari.
Oh yes,
There are
absolutely.
also pitfalls if we're not careful. So, yeah, what are
Mhm.
the operational risk per se?
I would say na if we talk about the operational, this would be the wrong decisions that are being made out of incorrect prompting, right? So without you as a leader validating the prompts or the output, so like I mentioned earlier, say for example, if your AI has mentioned this particular what do you call this result or outcome, and then you just simply throw it to the audience or to the stakeholders without you really validating it, it will create incorrect decisions and it will impact your business, right? Say for example, if you are in a manufacturing business, sabi ni AI, wag mong gawin tong step na to kasi itong step na to medyo mahaba-haba yung ano. So, of course, without you thinking, oh, sige, let's do this, let's do that, di ba? Tapos, you have it already in the middle of your manufacturing process and then eventually your workers are now complaining, bakit kailangan kong bumalik sa step A while in fact in the traditional process it
Mm.
has to be step C or step D, right? So doon ka na magtatanong na okay, oh my god. So ako nagpanukala nito sa or nag-recommend nito and natuwa yung mga boss ko, di ba? So that's one example of being careful with operational risk when you are implementing it post your analysis with using AI. So again, without you scrutinizing it, it will be very costly for your organization. It may cost your job as well, unfortunately, if you especially if you're in the decision making process. Na why did you throw AI to the mix without you validating its outcome, right?
Mhm.
So again, prompting without validation will always create operational risk, and that's why as leaders, that's why you have to be extremely careful with the tool that you're using because at the end of the day, decisions can impact lives, can impact jobs, and of course the what you call is the ROI of the business you're into. Yep.
Okay, there you go. Um, I guess when it comes to the risk per se, it's more on making sure lang that talaga na, as you mentioned nga, no, validating. I remember one of the things I did when I was still teaching
Mm-mm.
back then. I had an activity wherein, although at that stage kasi sobrang infant pa ng AI. So
Mm-mm.
I had them, yung mga students ko, I had them check out how reliable AI nga ba. So what I did is, I asked them to create an essay from AI. So
Mm-mm.
talaga sinabi ko, gawa kayo essay na AI lang. Huwag kayo
Uh-huh.
magsulat. And then the
Yes.
challenge was to figure out ano yung mga mali dun sa pinrovide
Oh
ng
yes.
ng AI
The
machine.
output.
I'm not gonna name kung anong AI yung ginamit namin nun, but yeah. So they found some minor details. So sabi ko, yeah,
Mm.
that's what I was saying. Yes,
Mhm.
it's a great tool for utilizing. It's a great tool to utilize for
Mhm.
streamlining the process, what we want
Mhm.
to do. But then again, you have to take it with a little bit of grain of salt. Na tignan mo
Mhm.
muna talaga kung tama. So yeah, I
Correct.
think that's the that's the concept behind the risk of
Agree.
having AI
Oh
integrated
yes,
into our
100%
well,
agree.
not just L&D but also project management.
Correct. So think of it as if I think probably putting on a project management app, think of it as if you are a publisher that you're creating a book, right? So
Mm.
that step is what perhaps we could probably call as proofreading, when you're validating, what the output, right? Before you send it over, because at the end of the day, you're stamping your name on that decision, and when you're
Mm.
stamping your name on that decision, it will imply that okay, this person had done his job, he already validated all the details and whatnot, right? And from there, you as a senior leader will really vouch for that person's decision because ikaw mismo nagsabi, okay to, di ba? And again, we cannot trust 100% AI on that because it's always still in a learning process. Hindi siya dapat 100% pinagkakatiwalaan unless you really are familiar with the tool and that you have already mentioned, really make sure that the decision is already actually correct. Right?
Yun, there you go.
So there.
Check lang natin. Huwag tayong masyadong kampante. check pa rin natin if it's true or not. Yun lang naman yun. And then, well, going into the training managers, as you mentioned, I guess they're gonna be wondering what's going to happen kasi ang bilis magbago ng landscape, no?
Oh yes, absolutely.
When I just remembered a few years ago, nasa pandemic era tayo. And then all of a sudden, nasa AI era na tayo.
Ang bilis, super.
Ang bilis ng, nakaka-whiplash if ika nga. Kasi alam ko, yung mga episodes namin before with Trainers Lounge, we've been talking about conducting training in online space.
That's
Ngayon,
true.
we're gonna talk about AI na.
May AI na agad.
Going back sa ating mga training managers, I know they're wondering, what will the role of the training manager look like? Sabihin na natin 3 to 5 years into the future because of AI.
I think probably the role of the manager in that space would be perhaps like what I mentioned earlier. Managers are not only covering delivery or success in itself, right? You have to first be number one, a program owner. Think of it as if you hindi porque binigay sa yung project, you're just gonna be executing it, right? You have to also think of it as a stakeholder. You own the project because you owe it to the successful of the entire program. Leaders are supposed to be capability architects, right? We, as a manager in itself, or whatever role you are, could be a trainer or a senior leader in your organization, are change enablers, right? So, pag sinabi change enablers, you accept change, you validate whether the risk or the pros exceed the cons, right? Which is very critical when it comes to AI. And of course, one thing is kind of critical as well is that AI does not simply work on its standalone. Hindi lang to purely training delivery, learning program delivery, or successes. It involves a lot of people in the background. Perhaps in shared businesses, you may have workflow people, other departments, financing, budgeting, and whatnot. It will involve a lot of teams, and that's why it's kind of critical that you need to wear your project management hat because you have to talk to a lot of stakeholders, get their buy-in, pitch into the tool, and from there you can voice out as well any risk that you are anticipating with this change or with the project, right? Because as leaders or as project managers in your training delivery or L&D, you have to voice out na with your experience you can share with them na okay, kailangan natin tong i-avoid tong step na to because it will make things more, how should I say this, longer, it not be more efficient, right? So you share your value with them, indicating that okay, alam nitong project manager nito or training manager na to na hindi pala to dapat gawin because it will be longer, right? And you as a manager yourself, you're also integrating AI in the background because it's a partner, not as a person who is your executive assistant. Always remember, it will help you make things faster, think faster, and make things more critical for you. Given those items, so again, you're a program owner, you're a capability architect, you are a project leader, okay? You're also a workflow designer of AI, you instruct AI what to do. And last but not the least, whatever outputs that or insights that AI is coming into is that you will have to always validate if the metrics are successfully driven or not with the tool itself or the adoption of the tool. So those are the things that managers in the future will need to look at when it comes to integrating or adopting AI into their respective workflows.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much for that, Sir CJ. Now, I guess let's give something naman sa mga new managers or for those who are
Yes.
looking into transitioning into a management position, whether it's project management or training management. So, if you were advising a new training manager today,
Mhm.
what three project management skills should they develop immediately in an AI enabled workplace?
That's a good question, Kevin. So when I became a manager myself, I didn't have all the skills that typically the role will require. So I have to do a lot of back work, back digging, and
Mhm.
what have you, right? So one thing is kind of critical when you're transitioning to a manager role is that number one, you have to first identify who the stakeholders are. Again, at the end of the day, people or the decision makers are not AIs or robots. These are human at the end of the day. You have to understand uh, what you call this, what ticks them, what will make your projects work. Okay, so you identify how influential they are, because of course at the end of the day, if you want to pitch in any project, you have to get their buy-in, and as a buy-in, you have to identify what what will make what will resonate with them to make sure that the project will be successful. Okay, and once you have that conversation happening in the back end or stakeholder mapping, you align expectations very early in a face-to-face conversation, so that okay, again, when you have the stakeholder meeting, when you have everyone involved, people will just say yes, let's go ahead and proceed, because you have already provided the details to each of the people that are involved in person. Next is of course wearing your expertise, probably as a trainer moving to a managerial position. You as a trainer yourself moving to a manager would be able to identify from the ground itself what are the blockers that will not make the project succeed. Okay? And from there, you are planning, because of those blockers, you are able to pitch in what would be alternative recommendations or solutions to a problem. For example, if you're aiming to improve graduation rates or success of the program, and these are the current pitfalls, or I should say this, yung mismong problems within that space, you can recommend A, B, or C to the stakeholders. And then, of course, coming back to the stakeholder meeting, you can get them to help you decide which is the best route to take. Again, it's a partnership, not a what you call this, not a just a buy-in or getting whatnot, right? Third, that would be kind of critical when you're integrating AI into your future, how should I say, competency would be metrics designation or design. How do you make sure that the metrics are actually helping the business improve further? So without that mindset, AI will not be able to help you. You have to first identify ano yung may gusto mong i-plan, i-measure para maging successful. Now, given those three items, again, let's recap: stakeholder mapping, next is risk management, and third is metrics design. If you're successful with those three items, then you can be very successful in anywhere or any role that you go, especially when, of course, when it comes to training, learning, delivery, and whatnot. So AI, again, let me reiterate, it does not lower the bar for training managers, learning development professionals. It actually raises it because you have somebody to help you make things do faster. But again, of course, without proofreading, without validating, it will not be very successful to your endeavor. Yeah. So thank you, Kevin. Those are my responses, I think, for the role.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sir CJ. And that actually caps off my questions. Is there anything or a final thought that you would like to share to our viewers?
Perhaps again, I'll just reiterate what we have mentioned earlier at the start of our session. Again, don't be afraid of AI. AI will not replace you. AI will definitely help you as long as you know how to use it properly. So again, you have to first invest how to use the tool properly before being afraid of it. I know this is something that it's hard to digest for some traditional companies who are very hesitant to use AI, but it's something that will make things faster for you, make things more efficient for you, and will make your programs or delivery or projects very successful because you have somebody to help you make things faster. So I think that's the message I would like to provide to our listeners out there.
Thank you so much for that, Sir CJ. What an episode! What a good line of what do you call this? Good line of advices and look into what AI can do for L&D and project management. So, well, that's it for our episode, Sir CJ. I hope you had fun as much as I did
Yeah,
talking
absolutely.
about AI. And well, marami-rami pang mangyayari sa mundo ng AI
Mm-mm.
definitely. So hopefully we can still have you back at the
Oh
show
yes.
in a later episode. Maybe we'll tackle another aspect of AI in this wonderful world of L&D. But for now, thank you so much. Hope to see you next time and
Thank you,
see you
Kevin.
soon then po, Sir CJ.
Bye bye.
And there you have it, convergence of AI, L&D, and project management. Well, the name of the game is efficiency, right? But let's make sure that AI doesn't replace us or the skill sets that we possess. Make sure that you check in every now and then regarding the performance, the competencies of our team members, and also us. If kaya pa ba natin yung ginagawa natin or have we become too reliant with AI? Kasi again, if we misuse AI, there are definitely consequences, not just with our skill sets, but also with how the team works or how the team completes their respective projects. But for now, we're gonna cap off the episode. Hope we can catch you again for our future episodes here in the show where we talk about everything about L&D. This is Kevin, and this has been Trainers Lounge. See you next time.